Hey guys, how's it going? Lewin here at Garageband and Beyond. Welcome back for episode 6. Now this is going to be the final episode of the series, and I've had a great time doing it. Thank you everybody for writing in the comments. I really appreciate all the positive feedback I've been getting about this particular series, and I'm really glad that you're all getting a lot out of it. Now, today what I want to talk about is gain structure inside of Garageband. And I'm going to preface this a little bit and say, I'm sort of old school. I came from, the days of old audio cassette 4 tracks, and I've worked on everything from 1/4-inch reel-to-reels to 2-inch reel-to-reel machines and SSL mixers, and then onto Mackies and ADATs, and then into Pro Tools, the very first version of Pro Tools. So I've sort of been through all of it, and gain structure has been sort of a large debate, and it's sort of an ongoing thing as far as like what are the rules and what are the things you want to look out for. And especially now, on GarageBand and with all the digital converters and things that are going on, as far as where you want your signal strength is kind of changing, or is definitely changing a lot from the old analog days, which a lot of us, I'm in my mid-30s, and so a lot of us older guys would, we used to like to push. I used to push the levels pretty hard on like an SSL mixer or a Mackie mixer even, not to a point of distortion, but I used to hit them really hard. Now currently with digital stuff, the ceiling and the headroom thing is very important. Headroom is still extremely important, and especially when you're making your final mix down, you want to make sure that all of the levels, all the track levels on the side, nothing's freaking out. Nothing's too hot, nothing's in the red, and barely even touching the yellow. There's only certain things like the drums. I will do that with. I will push them still. I push them pretty hard in the mix. If you look at the overall mix of this song, the drums are really high, but everything else is kind of low in the mix, so there's plenty of headroom. And what you'll find is later when you go into master this on GarageBand with the mastering presets that they have, that what you have coming out of GarageBand will actually match, when you dump it down to like iTunes or something, it'll actually sound almost the same. You still have to learn, the mastering thing on GarageBand isn't perfect yet by any means, and so there's still a lot of room for improvement. But if you push all the levels really hard inside the channels on GarageBand, and then you do the the mastering and dump it down to iTunes, you'll listen to that song, you'll listen to that track, and it won't sound anything like it did inside the GarageBand project window. So, like I was saying, you want to keep those levels, sort of down. I'm not talking about like super low levels. As long as the recordings are good, strong signals when you're recording, and then you can bring them down in the final mix. And then when you hit the mastering stage of this whole process, you'll find that the mastering is much more useful than not. So I'm just going to get to this screenshot now, and I'm going to show you what I did on this song, and I'll just show you how to get to the mastering section of GarageBand if you don't know how to do that. And so let's get over there, and I'll show you that. All right, so here we are in the GarageBand window, and I'm going to show you really quickly. If you don't know how to do this, if you don't know how to find the master track, if you come up here to the very top, and you go to track, right? And mine's open right now, so it's going to say hide it. But yours, if it's not open, it'll say show master track. So you just do this, and what happens is you get down here, you get the track right here. And so here it is, right? So this, you can control the master volume, master pitch, master tempo. You can add automation to all sorts of different things. But here's like if you want to do like a fade in or a fade out, here's where you do that with. Don't go like to the end of each track and, make a fade out or anything like that. You don't want to be doing this kind of stuff, unless the mix calls for it. But if you're doing like a main fade out, you can see this song used to have originally had a fade out, but I got rid of it. And so you could hear all the garbage at the end. So let me show you over here on the left, you get all these cool presets. And, the one I used for this one was Rock Basic Finalizer. Let me zoom in again. Here it's rock and then rock basic finalizer. And you know, my suggestion always with GarageBand is play around with these settings. You know, even if it's not a rock song, or you know, if it is a rock song and maybe the classical one will work better, maybe the pop one will work better. There's all sorts of options inside this area. Now, once you've selected which one sounds good to you in here, you can still go. You go up to Edit, and you can go over here, and you can affect it still. You know, like I actually put my own EQ on it a little bit, just gave a little bump in the mids, just a little tiny one in the low end, and you know, up here just to sort of add some sparkle to it. You know, so there are tons of things you can add effects, you can add the EQs, all sorts of things. Now, what I was saying before about the channel tracks, like was talking about these guys right here. This right here, this thing, this is, you know, the volume on the channel. And let me just play the song really quick. I'll just play a section of it. Watch the levels here that I have running on the left-hand side, just to sort of give you an example of how I made it work in this mix. Now watch the drums. Right? So, I mean, I'm not going to play the whole song for you. If you want to hear the whole song, go to episode 1. Now, one thing I will mention, and you can see that I am clipping a little bit down here. I will push the master volume of the two things that I will push is the drums and the master volume. You know, I have yet to find a point where I can actually make a channel distort inside of GarageBand. But as far as how it works on the back end, on the mastering section of it, you know, that's where the gain structure is really going to come into play. So keep your channel levels low. You know, you can push your drums if you like to, like I do. And then, you know, I like to push this one a little bit. It's not, you know, freaking out. It is just, you know, I am getting the clip lights are coming on. It's not actually clipping. It's not actually distorting or anything. And I think it really helps give the mastering section more stuff to work with. If I hit it, you know, a little bit hard, I like the results, what comes out of the mastering area. So that's it. That is the final episode. Please, you know, subscribe to the channel and let me know if you have any comments or questions or anything. And that's it. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. And I'll be back next week with more guitar videos. We're going to start, you know, talking about guitars again. Thank God.